Let me welcome you here this evening. I trust you've had a good start to this week. We'll pause right here in the middle of the week and spend some time together and in the Word and get our hearts and batteries hopefully recharged for the remainder of the week. Take your hymn books, please, number 638. Hear my Lord. Let's stand together and we'll sing all three of these verses together, please. Number 638. All right, sing with me now, please. Lord, I give my life to you. Take control each day. I will follow anywhere, near or far away. Here am I, Lord, send me. Here, my Lord, send me. I will serve you faithfully. Here am I, Lord, send me. Lord, I want your perfect will. Be my faithful guide. I will never be afraid. You are close beside. Here am I, Lord, send me. Here am I, Lord, send me. I will serve you faithfully. Here am I, Lord, send me. Let me see my mission field all around each day. Fill my heart with Jesus' love. Use me, Lord, I pray. Here am I, Lord, send me. Here am I, Lord, send me. I will serve you faithfully. Here am I, Lord, send me. Let's bow our heads, please, for a moment of prayer. Father, what a way to start the service this evening with just a prayer to you. I pray, Lord, you burden our hearts to be brighter lights and saltier salt in this world in which we live. We need to have an impact. And sometimes that impact is not verbal. That impact is visual in our behavior, our mannerisms, our response, just even in our communications. So, Lord, I pray you help us to be burdened about getting the gospel out to the regions beyond. I don't have a clue when you're coming back. No one does. Could be in my lifetime. It could not, Father. But you are coming back. One of these days we'll stand before you. We'll give an account. That's a sobering thought, Father. Standing before Almighty God, giving an account for the opportunities, the wasted opportunities, the opportunities that could have taken place, but didn't. Our faithfulness to you, our service to you, well, that list could go on and on and on. We're going to give an account. So I pray you help us, Father, to be totally dependent upon you and look to you for grace and opportunities day in and day out. Bless our time now here together tonight. Pray you help us to be able to concentrate, focus our attention on the things of the Lord and not all the things that are going on outside the walls of this church this evening. For we ask a prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. You'll take your hymn book again and turn to number 511. 511, Nearer Still. We'll sing all four of these verses together, please. Number 511. All right, sing with me now. Nearer still, nearer, close to thee, heart, draw me, thy Savior, so precious thou art. Fold me, oh, fold me, close to thy breast, shelter me safe in that haven of rest. Shelter me safe in that haven of rest. Nearer, still nearer, nothing I bring, not as an offering to Jesus my King, only my sinful, now contrite heart, grant me the cleansing thy blood doth impart. Grant me cleansing thy blood doth impart. Nearer, still nearer, Lord, to thee. Sin with its follies, thy agony desire. All its Just a few announcements, please, before Jan comes to open the word to our hearts this evening. Gentlemen, I remind you of the prayer meeting in the morning. And then, of course, this Sunday morning, there will be some graduation recognitions that will take place in the AM service. Sunday night, there'll be a Singspiration here in the auditorium. I know you enjoy those. And then, of course, please remember also next week the bus trip up to Richmond to that Agecroft Hall. And then on the 9th of next month, or of June, I should say, the Ladies' Real Time will take place. If you didn't get one of these prayer sheets, I think Roger has some. He can pass them out. If you want one and you raise your hand, I think he'll put one in your hands. But please remember to pray for Ivy Palmer. Remember, she just recently had some cancer surgery, and they're waiting for all of the biopsy reports to come back. And of course, Dana Anderson recently had some surgery and a lot of complications with that. The Rensburg's family has finally got their visas, and they're leaving for Australia in just a few weeks, July the 2nd. And so they're excited. We're excited for them. I hope you'll hold them up before the throne of grace. And then Ashley Husky, just pray for her remaining support and all of her final documents and set up, all of the logistics, the apartment hunting, and all of those things that take place when you move. They are all necessary. And this is a single lady. Yes. All right, well, I guess somewhere in there she'll catch her breath, but yeah, thank the Lord for young legs and young minds, and that's all I can say. And if she could probably do that, the plane would still be sitting at the gate waiting for me to get there. But anyway, I know she'll appreciate your prayers. All right, Jan, bless your heart, brother.
Oh, thank you. That's right. Don't you love him to death? Oh, I do. I can't tell you how much he means to me. Yeah. Amen. I needed him so badly when I was sick. And he came over to my house, and he did some work on my house that I could not get done. And it has been one of the greatest blessings that I'll let you tell him, or I'll let him tell you what he did, okay? But very thankful, very, very thankful for Brother Peterson. Now, tonight, I was going to preach, okay? But I thought, well, what I probably ought to do is tell you a little bit about what's going on with Operation Renewed Hope. I did this in one of the previous Wednesday night services, and it was so well received that I thought, well, this is an opportunity for me to do that, and plus it'll give you a break from preaching, okay? So you can turn in your Bibles, if you would, to Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20. And just stay there. We're not going to do an exposition or anything like that. But this verse is the chief, it is the theme verse for what we call our boot camps. Now, the first boot camp was back in 1994, I think it was. And since that time, every summer, we have boot camps. And you say, why do you have boot camps? Well, I'm going to tell you about that in just a minute. First of all, I want to bring you up to date on some of the things. Like right now in London, Kentucky, we're working on a situation, and if you would pray, this is serious prayer now. We're talking the kind where you don't just mention it, you beg the Lord. We've got a brother there, Michael Casada, and isn't that a great Kentucky name, Casada? I tell you. And he's a bivocational pastor. In other words, to pastor the church, he works a full-time job. It's hard to find. Most young men today will not do that. If they can't be paid full-time by the church, they don't take the church. That's why just up in the state of New York alone, there are probably 20 or 30 churches that I know of. And to tell you how bad it is, I had a friend of mine, he's 85 years old, and they called him to be the preacher of the church because they can't find anybody. And they can't afford to pay a full-time salary in the state of New York. It's like going, and they just can't do $6,000 and $7,000 and $8,000 a month. They can't do it. And so he works full time. His little church there, the tornadoes came through, and they completely demolished the London area in many places. And his church was right in the path of this cell of tornadoes. There's virtually nothing left of his church. Everything collapsed into the basement, destroyed the basement, and so they had to go and they had to get people with trucks and excavators and different things, and they dug all of the stuff out of the basement. They pushed it down by the road, and FEMA, Lord willing, is going to go by, and they're going to remove all of the debris of the homes that they've been able to get down to the road. The only thing left is a small portion of a basement wall, 2 walls that form an L shape, and then there's another wall down this side, and that's all that's left. The concrete block foundation did not do well, and the basement did not fare well. And so now here he is. They could not get tornado insurance because it's not unusual for tornadoes to be in that area. And so they have nothing. They have no money. They have no savings because everything that they took in from the congregation they had to spend out to keep the church alive. And so I called him, and I remember when he answered the phone. What we did was, we have a ministry over close to Lexington, Welcome, North Carolina. Maybe some of you know Welcome. Do you know Welcome, brother? You know where it's at, yeah. They have a ministry there called a Missionaire, and a Missionaire works with Operation Renewed Hope. We have a ministry called Air Hope, and we will give money to pilots. We'll pay for their fuel. We'll pay for everything of the expenses. If their plane breaks down, we'll pay $2,000 for the repair of the plane if it was in a mission, okay? We take care of all their food, their lodging, whatever it may be. And so we commissioned him to fly up to the London, Kentucky area, and he found this pastor and spent a day with him trying to encourage him, and then he sent me back all the information, and then he flew home. It's about an hour flight. It's several hours if you drive. So it was a good exchange. I called him after that pilot came back with his basic information. And I asked him, brother, I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I don't know. He said, I just don't know. Now, if most people were working a job and pastoring a small church, I know what would happen. They would start looking for a place that they could go to. But this young man, or actually I think he is probably in his 40s or 50s, he did not. He stayed right there with them. And we sent immediately $3,000 to stabilize the church. We've got to get that church back in services. Okay, you let that church go without services and people will start leaving. That's just the way people are. Okay? Today, loyalty is not an issue in the minds of most people. Now, when you and I were growing up, you were loyal to the church no matter what, you know. And today, maybe. Young people are different today. And so we sent him the $3,000 so that he can go to the local hotel and see if he can rent the banquet room or a conference room and hold his service on Sunday morning so they can. He said, well, we're going to have services outside unless it's raining. Well, you see what's going on. And it's raining all over the southeast, I'm told. So we sent him $3,000 to help him. So I would ask that you really pray for this man. The name of the church, and I love this name, it's called Sunshine Hill Baptist Church. Sadly, the sun didn't shine that day, okay? But I love that. I've never heard of a church called Sunshine Hill. And I've been all over, you know. But it's Sunshine Hill Baptist Church. And so if you would, please pray for this brother. And pray not just in passing, but every time that you can remember this brother, pray for him. Ask God to be with him. First of all, that the Lord would give him strength of character. And of course, I never quit calling. I call them to the point they go, okay, everything's fine. And that's how they answer. Of course, later when they're building, the phone rings to me, you know. One of the pastors up in Newport, Tennessee with Hurricane Helene, he called me last week and he said, well, it looks like we're getting very close to the church being completely finished. And he said, we're going to have a big service. Now, I think that we've sent close to $100,000 to him because his church was so damaged. The water came in, filled it. It was just so damaged. And we've got another church right now that has not started to rebuild because their church doesn't exist anymore. It's just gone. And so they're in the process of getting started to rebuild. We've just seen a lot of damage and destruction. And we still haven't hit the hurricane season this year yet. And they're saying that the hurricane season is going to be really big. So if you would, just put down someplace. Pray for Operation Renewed Hope has been able to help 27 churches rebuild. That's how many we found that were just in real, and that doesn't count your Southern Baptist churches. The Southern Baptist Convention takes care of their churches. That doesn't take your convention-type churches, Methodist, Presbyterian. This is strictly 100% independent Baptist churches, and we're so independent we don't even like each other, okay? So when something goes wrong like this, there's nobody that cares. Pray real hard. We had over 50 families that we have helped them rebuild with $5,000 or more each. Now, some of them were just a little less, but most were $5,000 or more, so that they could, we had to get the families stabilized. We had families in Florida, we had families in Tennessee, we had families in North Carolina. So pray very hard about that. Now you say, why are you giving an announcement about ORH? Well, for some of you, you don't know that that's my primary ministry. I work part-time here in evangelism, but the bulk of my time is spent with Operation Renewed Hope. You will see me disappear for a while. I'm not playing hooky from church. I'm in church, okay? Because I have to travel from church to church to church. My schedule starting in August is full, going from church to church, and we're adding every month to the number of churches because we have to get out to those churches if we're going to be able to have the money we need to function. Also, we've got a prayer request. A team came in this last Sunday from Peru, and one of the young ladies got sick while she was on the trip, and we found out that she had allergies. Now, we knew she had the allergies. It was all written down on all of the forms that we asked them to fill out. But we did not know that the allergies were quite as severe as what was put on the form. And so she, pray for her. She's back home now. And pray that everything goes well with her family. Now, some of you don't know that we do medical clinics. We do 4 to 5 medical clinics a year. We average 1,000 people per clinic. That's our average. Now, for the last year and a half, we've been exceeding that average by a huge amount. There are more and more people needing medical care. And so, pray. We have one medical team that goes out in January. We have one medical team that goes out in May. We have one that goes out in July. Then we have October. And then if we have the ability, we do one in November. So pray that the Lord blesses there. Now, if you want to start the presentation with the, okay. Isn't that a nice looking group of kids? Now, I want you to know something. They have slept in rain every night. They come out of their tents glad to get out of them because the tents are just full of water. I am so wet and cold that I can't. I hate being wet and cold. I can pretty well put up with anything. But wet and cold, I don't do that very well, okay? But I got to act like to the kids, hey, nothing here, you know? And I'm sitting here going, oh, dear God, get me home, you know? You say, why do you do the boot camps? Number one, we want young people to travel with us. And every year, we have at least 20 to 25 young people that are on our medical teams. They start at age 14 and up. But before they can be on a medical team, they've got to pass that boot camp. Because I'm not going to take a bunch of spoiled brats with me someplace. Not going to happen. And you find out whether they're spoiled brats very quickly here. All right? You say, how is that? Well, when they get to the camp, they do not go back inside for 7 days. They are outside 24 hours a day, all right, unless they go in the bathroom and then they're inside. Otherwise, and they don't take baths. They're not allowed to take baths. They're told if you want to take a bath, bring a wet wipe, you know. And the girls, the girls are so good at this, you know. Now, the boys, they get up in the morning, they could care less about a bath. They didn't like the idea in the first place. It had nothing to do with them. It was a bunch of things foisted on them by women, okay? Now, all the girls, they've got the wet wipes, and they don't want to smell. The boys don't care. I mean, you know, sit down beside me. If you can't breathe, move over. You know, I don't care. It's not exactly that bad, but it gets pretty close. So we call it the squeal factor. What does it take to make them to squeal? And we tell them anytime they want to quit, they can walk right up to one of us and say, "I'm through," and we'll call their parents, and their parents can come and get them. Okay? And they're out of the camp. They can stay in the bunk room or whatever that's supplied for the adults. Now, some of the adults we put in a bunk room, they couldn't take this, you know, for the most part. Now, last year we did have a woman. Why? Oh, man. She was unbelievable. She slept on the ground every night. She was great. This year, she's having her daughter come. And so last year she traveled with us to Bolivia, I think it was. But anyway, the reason we want to find out what it takes to make them squeal is there's no way I can make them as tired or frustrated as they will get on a basic medical team, except doing this, where we put them through things that are totally inconvenient. And most people would say, "Well, that's just mean." No, it's not. That's why our kids today, they don't have stamina, you know. The biggest thing they do is play sports, and only a portion of them do that. It's really sad what's happening in a lot of our kids' lives. And so we put them through this. Now, this is a basic size team. Okay, go to the next slide. Now, the first thing we do, you can see there's a highway right there, right? All right. That's the last time they will see that highway for 1 week. Now, and they're all standing around. They've got their gear on their backs. They're told to have it that way. They're told that no one will help them carry their gear to the camp. They will carry their gear, or they will make the number of trips necessary. Now, the girls, you got to love them. They'll pick out that one boy that's susceptible to a girl smiling at him. And I always have to say, "Are you carrying that for her?" And he'll go, "Well, yeah." And I'll say, "Drop it now." She carries that. And she looks at me like, "Oh, okay, I'll get even with you, don't you worry." But they have to put their things on their back. They have to carry. The only thing that we take in for them is their tents. Okay? And so that's me up there talking to them. I'm telling them what they can expect at the camp, what we expect out of them. We tell them the only thing we will accept is yes ma'am, no ma'am, and one of the most sweet spirits that you've ever seen in your life. And I had a boy who wouldn't eat the food. at the camp. And the food is something that we work on because we want them used to what other people live like. Okay? That's the second reason we do this. We want to see what it takes to break them. Second thing is, we want to see if they can live and eat the food where they're going. Do you know some of the biggest differences for missionaries is when they get to the field, they never expected it to be this way. And so we're looking to have these kids travel. We're looking to have these kids go to the mission field. Okay? So we tell them all of the rules, and that's the first thing. Now, that goes in one ear and out the other. They're kids, okay? But you've told them, all right? Next slide. Now, once they leave that site that you just saw by that road, they are 1.5 miles from the camp. So they have to put everything on their back, and for 1.5 miles, they have to carry that stuff in. Last year we had a sweet girl. She's a wonderful girl. Nothing wrong with the girl. But she had never been made to do any really physical labor of any kind. And so this took her forever because she would have to walk and stop. Walk and stop. She could not run, you know. Now, was she a good girl? Why, sure. She's just sweet as she could be. Nothing wrong with her. It was just that she had never been exposed to this much. I had 2 girls one time that told me, they said, you know, if we had known that this thing was this physical, we probably would have exercised before we came. And I said, good thought. And but once they get there, the first thing they are taught how to do is to pick out their campsite. Now, the boys are in a camp. We're in a camp about an hour and a half from here toward Robbins, North Carolina. And the river runs by on one side, and on the other side there's a creek. So this is called the point. And we always put the boys the furthest away from the camp because who cares, you know? They're okay. They'll get up at night and walk around, look around. They're boys, you know. But now the girls, we put very close to the campfire, okay? Because if they have a need, we've got to meet that need immediately. And so the boys, you know, will set up their camp. Now they also have to dig their own latrines. And because at night, it's a long walk to find some place to use the bathroom. So they dig their latrines, they build a little potty that they can sit on, and so on and so forth. And most of them will go in and use that, but we also have porta potties that they can use during the day so they don't have to go back down to their campsite. But they're taught to do that. And then we build a campsite and set up the campsites on where the girls are, where the boys are, and then where we actually hold all of the training sessions. We eat there and do everything. Okay? Now, on the first day, they're taught to forage. In other words, they've got to find material to make fire with. They've never made a fire for the most part, nor have they depended on the fire for every moment of their heat, their food, and everything that they might do. It was hilarious, but I'll tell you in a minute. But anyway, they go out and they start foraging. Or we ask them to find long poles for us. We use those for building construction and different things. Okay, next. All right, now, eating. That is the best. I think that's cookie dough, if I'm not mistaken. My wife, she cooks over the open fire. She uses cast iron pots and cooks over the open fire. And so that's my coffee can. You see that, the coffee can right there? You cannot live without coffee. Did you know that? So I get up in the morning, and you know what? Everybody wants some of my coffee. I tell you, you got to watch these people. And so I get a fire going early in the morning. Now this year, because of my legs, I won't be able to get that fire going. So they've assigned a young man who's coming, who went last year, and he's coming back this year, and he's going to be my gopher and do all the work for me. And I'm glad of that. Everybody needs a gopher. Okay? Now, over here, you can see that we're teaching the men, the boys, the girls to cook. That's cornbread that my wife is going to cook in that cast iron pot. And you can see what it's like. Those are the coals that are put on top of the cast iron pot. And they cook next. And I tell you what, I don't know what I would do without my wife. Good night. Do you know how hungry you get? It's just almost impossible to go until the next meal. You're so hungry. And it's hilarious to watch. You know, the girls that kind of pick at their food and the boys that kind of pick at their food, they're not picking at food. You throw it down there and they're eating, you know, because they're hungry. Now, this is our training tent, and here we do lectures. We have doctors, nurses, dentists, optometrists. We will have NPs, PAs. We'll have EMTs. We will have firemen. In fact, one of the main men in the unit is a fireman. He comes every year. And he actually does the work for us. But you can see that they're teaching them to do CPR, life-saving skills, and so every day they are going through class. We let them out of one class, we give them 5 minutes, and they're back in another class. And so it's classes all day. The day ends about 10 o'clock at night. I know I'm preaching at 9 o'clock one night. They'll be sound asleep. I tell you, you know how they are at home? Well, I don't want to go to bed right now, Mom. Yeah, they claw their ways to that, get to that tent so that they can get in their sleeping bags. But that goes on all day long. And then we have several unusual things I'll show you. All right, next. This is compass reading. And we teach them to read a compass because later in the week they're going to be given coordinates and they've got to go to those coordinates. And the coordinates will wind up at a place, and the guy who teaches it, he's standing there waiting for them. Now, some of them wind up way over there, you know. Few of them get the readings right, and they wind up where he is. But they still are learning. And we have a terrain map of the camp where we are, and they use that map to determine where they are and how they can do. All right, next one. Okay, part of what we train them is, can you build a dry shelter from what you find in the woods? All of what you see right there, they brought up from the woods. We don't give them a lesson. We let them work and then we train them. And it's good for them because they realize that if they put their hand on it, probably they can use it. Some of the things that we train them with is simple things like I take a 4x4 and I drive nails in it at different heights, okay? And I ask them, can you take those nails out without bending them? but you can only use what you see around you. Well, I have everything there that they need. And it is so hilarious. They come across everything on the face of the earth and they bring it up there and they try to make it work. Then finally, one of them starts and he goes, or she goes, and a lot of times it's the girls. The girls beat the dickens out of those boys with brain. I tell you. And they will, men, I'm sorry, I had to give it away, okay? And so they figure out how they can take those nails out without bending them. If they bend one, they lose. They get nothing for the event. If they can get it out and it is reasonably straight, and I put something straight beside it, so it's not like, it was going like this when they pulled it out, and I go, oh, that's straight enough, don't worry. It's not. So they do things like that. We give them all kinds of critical thinking skills because we want them to be able to look at something, and we tell the adults that are there to stay out of it. You'll get an adult. They can't wait. Man, they've just got to go and, and we grab the adult and say, get away from the kids. This is their time, but adult guys in particular, they can figure it out in a few minutes because they've got so much experience. And we do other things that are critical thinking skills, such as how do you get something from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, and you can only go up one time, but there's 18 things there. How do you do that? And they look at you like, are you kidding me? I didn't get enough breakfast for this, But they do it. They figure out how to do it, and they do a good job. Because on the last trip, they had to use that. How did they get the stuff in? All right, next. Down at the bottom of that that's an emergency room shelter for the jungle. And you can take people, they have a bed that they've made that's inside that tent. They even made a chair one time. And you can see they're gathering the wood right there and they're checking it and make sure it's straight. Isn't that great? Don't you love that? Okay, next. Now this is water safety. You see that girl on the far side? We told her that she would have to get in the water. She jumped out of that boat into the water, scared the guy in the boat to death. Okay? But anyway, these kids are in the water, and we teach them how they can go back into the boat without capsizing the boat. Do you realize most people don't know how to do that? If they got out of a boat, they could not get back in one. And sometimes, like in Peru, this last trip, we were on the Madre de Dios, the Rio Madre de Dios. Well, that thing's moving. And when you go out, you want to find a place to get back in. So we teach them about that. And they have a great time. The girls bring soap. They cheat. You'll watch them. They'll have that soap and they'll go in their hair like they're scratching, and they're washing their hair, So, but they do a great job. And you can see how they're being pulled back into the boat. So, next thing. Now this is stitching. We use a banana, we cut it, and the NP is teaching them to stitch up everything. And they do a good job. Some kids are very skillful. You would really be surprised. All right, next picture. Okay, this is search and rescue. These kids are headed toward the LZ, a landing zone, because a helicopter is on its way in. And they've been, that where they learned how to read the compass? They are told at certain coordinates, they will find a person. There has been an airplane or helicopter wreck, and they're in it. And now they've got to find these people. Now, once they get there, we call it FAST. Okay? You find, you assess, you stabilize, and then you transport. Okay? Well, the pictures you've got here are them coming out of the woods, and they're transporting. There's a person in there. And by the way, they had to build that transport from anything they could find. I thought they did a great job, didn't they? That's unbelievable. I couldn't have done that. Now, you can see them at the site, and they've learned first aid. They know what to do, and they're stabilizing that person. He's had a head injury. And so they're going to put him in one of their makeshift, and they're going to take him, and it could be at least a half a mile walk for them with this person. And they're going to take him, all right, next shot, and there is going to be a helicopter coming in. Now, they bring the guys back to the landing zone where they're waiting for the helicopter, and then we teach them to mark off a landing zone so that the helicopters, everybody thinks the helicopters can see you. No, they can't. So we mark off, and when we hear the helicopter, then we know that we need to start waving so that that helicopter can see us. And that helicopter will go zoom right by us. And everybody go, oh, no. And I go, just be patient. And all of a sudden, you'll hear that helicopter coming back. They banked, and they came back. And I tell everybody, follow your lines and walk off the field. Do not run across where the helicopter is going to land. So they walk in their lines all the way back, and they get off the field. And the helicopter will land, as you can see right there. They simulate loading the person, and then we put them on board the helicopter. And the pilot gives them about a 5 or 6 minute flight. And they go way out over North Carolina and come all the way back. The man talking to them there is a helicopter pilot. He's giving them a safety instruction. Now, we have a whole lesson on this, but we asked the pilot to give them a safety instruction. Okay? And he does. All right, next. These are just some of the workers. That's my wife. That's the fireman in the next picture. That's a nurse practitioner. That's a nurse on the bottom. This is a man who works with us. And this is the lady who is in charge of all of our medical. She's great. Christy, she's been with us now since 2004. And she's not missed a trip since 2004 that I know of. And she leads with everything and does it. Okay, next. And these are just some nice pictures. You can leave that one up. It's nice to see nice faces, isn't it? Now, let me read to you Genesis or Galatians 2 and 20. All right. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me, and the life which I now live in the flesh, hang on just a second. I'm pulling something out of my pocket. And for some reason, there it is. Oh, no, that's money. This verse, the life I live, I now live in the flesh. I live by the faith of the Son of God. Now, at the close of the clinic, the very close, there it is. I knew I had it. We give them a dog tag. That's all they get. It's nothing. See, in the military, a dog tag, all it means to a soldier is, it doesn't identify the soldier when he's going on base or doing his work, but he has to wear it around his neck 24 hours a day. He never takes it off except for taking a bath or something like that, and then he puts it right back on. If this dog tag is used, one of two things is true. You're dead wounded are wounded. Because when you're dead, they pull it from your neck, and that verifies that you were killed in action. If you are wounded, they will pull it from your neck because your blood type is on here. And they know how to give you blood. And we tell the young people, today, if you take this dog tag with your name on it, what you're saying is, I am dying to self and I am living to Christ. Now, you don't have to take it. No one is pressuring you to take it. And if you take it and don't want to, you can give it back. It's okay. But we want you to know that today you are going to believe what Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says. And so we give it to them. It means absolutely nothing. There will be kids that receive their dog tag. In fact, this one belongs to my granddaughter. She came and worked last year. She was not a camp member. She just worked there the whole camp. And I gave her a dog tag in private because she couldn't receive it as part of the dog tag ceremony. You know what she did tonight? She brought it to me and she said, Pop, here's my dog tag. And I thought, it must be mighty important for a young girl to keep something like this for a whole year and bring it to me when I needed it. And folks, this does mean a lot to the kids. They paid for it. They gave everything they had in the moment to get this little piece, not even metal, because they gave all. And I'm so thankful that that's the case. Oh, let's see, it's 7:51. Roger, if you would, take everybody on that side and go to that side, and we're going to pray, okay? And if you would, pray for this boot camp. I've got to go out Saturday and make the final setup and get ready to stay out there. And so we would like you to pray for these kids. They're coming in from Texas, Chicago, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Florida, I think. I don't remember all the places where they'll be coming. But they want to serve God. We've got to encourage those kids, folks. We've got to give them everything we got. Because someday they may be the next ones that come into this church seeking support so that they can go and serve the Lord. So if you would, pray for them. And then everybody here, if you would, just move over to that side. And we're just going to have a little bit of prayer. And then we'll be dismissed. We'll go about 10 minutes, and then we'll be dismissed, okay? If you would, just move over here.